There will come a time in your life when the world around you begins to lose its balance. People will panic, voices will rise, fear will spread faster than truth. And in the middle of all that chaos, the hardest thing to do will be the simplest thing imaginable: to remain calm. Because true strength is not loud. It does not scream for attention. It does not announce itself to the world. Real strength reveals itself quietly, through composure under pressure. Anyone can remain confident when life is easy. Anyone can smile when things are working in their favor. But the measure of a human being is revealed in moments of uncertainty. Can you stand firm when confusion surrounds you? Can you think clearly while others surrender to fear? Can you remain steady when people misunderstand you? These moments define character. Not success, not money, not status, character. The world is full of people who appear strong during comfort but collapse during hardship. Because pressure exposes what comfort hides. And life applies pressure to everyone eventually. There will be days when people doubt you. They will question your choices, your abilities, your dreams. Sometimes they will doubt you because they cannot see your vision. Other times they will doubt you because your courage reminds them of their own fear. But maturity is understanding something important. You do not need everyone to believe in you. Some journeys are meant to be walked alone before they are understood by others. And yet, confidence should never become arrogance. There is wisdom in listening, wisdom in humility. Wisdom in recognizing that even criticism may contain fragments of truth. A strong mind remains open without becoming weak. That balance is rare. Most people swing between insecurity and ego. Either they collapse under judgment, or they become blinded by pride. But true confidence is quieter than both. It does not need to prove itself constantly. It simply continues moving forward. Patience is another form of strength few people truly understand. Modern life conditions people to expect everything immediately. Immediate success, immediate validation, immediate results. But life does not operate according to human impatience. Some transformations require time. The tree does not apologize for growing slowly. The sunrise does not rush itself into the sky. The ocean does not become less powerful because it moves in waves. Nature understands patience better than humanity does. And perhaps that is why so many people destroy their own peace. They become exhausted not because life is impossible, but because they expect life to unfold faster than wisdom allows. There is dignity in waiting without bitterness. There is power in continuing your path even when rewards are delayed. Anyone can chase excitement, few can endure uncertainty. And uncertainty is where character is forged. You will also discover that the world is not always honest. People may lie about you, misunderstand you, judge you without knowing your story. There will be moments when defending yourself feels necessary. Moments when anger burns in your chest like fire. But not every battle deserves your energy. One of the greatest forms of discipline is learning when silence is more powerful than reaction. Because hatred is contagious. When someone throws bitterness into the world, they often want you to become bitter too. Pain seeks company. Anger seeks reflection. But becoming cruel because cruelty touched you is how darkness spreads. The strongest souls refuse to let suffering transform them into something ugly. That does not mean weakness. It means mastery. There is a difference. Dreams are necessary. Human beings cannot survive without vision, without hope, without imagination pulling them towards something greater. But dreams become dangerous when they replace reality. Some people spend their entire lives fantasizing but never building, thinking but never acting, planning but never beginning. A dream without discipline is only escape. You must learn how to imagine greatly while remaining grounded in action. Because the world belongs not only to visionaries, but to those willing to endure the labor required to make visions real. And labor is rarely glamorous. Success is often built in silence. While others sleep, someone is practicing. While others complain, someone is learning. While others quit, someone is continuing quietly. That is how greatness is formed. Not in moments of inspiration alone, but in consistency. Especially when motivation disappears. There is another truth life teaches painfully. Victory and failure are both temporary, yet human beings attach themselves emotionally to both. Success makes people arrogant. Failure makes people hopeless. But both are dangerous illusions, because neither defines you permanently. Life changes quickly. Today's triumph may become tomorrow's memory. Today's disaster may become tomorrow's lesson. And the people who survive emotionally are those who understand this. Do not worship success too deeply. Do not fear failure too absolutely. Both are teachers. Neither is your identity. There will be moments when the things you build begin to collapse. Dreams you invested years into may suddenly break apart. Relationships may end unexpectedly. Plans may fail despite your effort. And nothing feels more painful than watching something meaningful fall apart in front of you. Especially when you gave it your time, your energy, your heart. Most people become bitter in those moments. But resilience means learning how to begin again. Not because starting over is easy, but because refusing to rebuild guarantees defeat. Human beings are astonishing in their ability to recover. Again and again, people survive heartbreak, failure, loss, humiliation, and somehow they continue. That is courage, not the absence of pain, but the refusal to surrender because of it. Sometimes life demands enormous risk. There may come a moment when you place everything you have worked for on the line. Your comfort, your certainty, your reputation, your future, and perhaps you lose. That possibility terrifies most people so deeply that they never truly live. They remain trapped inside safety, inside routine, inside fear disguised as practicality. But every meaningful life requires risk. To love is risk. To dream is risk. To create is risk. To speak truth is risk. Even waking up each day and continuing despite uncertainty is a form of courage. The tragedy is not failing. The tragedy is allowing fear to prevent you from trying at all. And if life strips everything away from you, if you lose what you spent years building, if you are forced to begin again from nothing, begin again anyway, quietly, without self-pity, without announcing your suffering to the world. Because dignity matters. There is something deeply powerful about people who endure hardship without allowing hardship to poison their spirit. The human body itself teaches this lesson. There will be moments when your mind feels exhausted, when your heart feels empty, when your energy disappears completely. Yet somehow, you continue. You force yourself forward one more step. One more breath, one more day, not because you feel strong, but because something deeper than emotion continues speaking inside you. The will. Human beings underestimate the power of will. Long after motivation fades, long after excitement disappears, discipline and will are what remain, and often that is enough. Some of the greatest victories in life happen quietly. A person resisting despair. A person continuing after rejection. A person choosing hope while carrying invisible pain. The world rarely applauds these moments, yet they are extraordinary acts of courage. You must also learn how to move through different worlds without losing yourself. Some people change completely depending on who surrounds them. They become arrogant among the weak, timid among the powerful, false among crowds. But integrity means remaining the same person regardless of the room you enter. Whether standing beside ordinary workers or influential leaders, whether praised or criticized, whether admired or ignored, remain real, because authenticity is becoming rare. The modern world rewards performance, masks image. People become addicted to appearing important rather than becoming meaningful. But eventually, performance becomes exhausting. A false identity always requires maintenance, truth does not. There is freedom in no longer needing to impress everyone. And perhaps one of the greatest forms of maturity is learning emotional balance. Neither enemies nor praise should control your inner peace completely. If criticism destroys you, you become fragile. If praise controls you, you become dependent. Both place your emotional life into the hands of others. Freedom begins when your worth no longer depends entirely on external approval. This does not mean becoming cold or emotionless. It means becoming stable. The ocean remains the ocean whether people admire it or fear it. Likewise, a grounded person remains themselves regardless of public opinion. Time itself is another lesson humanity often ignores. Life is made of moments, small seconds constantly disappearing, and most people waste them unconsciously. They postpone dreams, delay honesty, ignore people they love, live mechanically, as if time were endless. But life is fragile. One conversation can become the last conversation. One ordinary morning can become a memory forever. One moment can divide an entire lifetime into before and after. When you truly understand this, you begin living differently. You become more present, more grateful, more awake. You stop waiting endlessly for perfect conditions. Because existence itself is temporary, and temporary things become sacred precisely because they do not last forever. Every minute matters, not in a stressful sense, but in a deeply human sense. How you spend your attention becomes how you spend your life. That is why discipline matters, not because discipline makes you robotic, but because discipline protects your future from your temporary moods. Feelings change constantly. Purpose must remain deeper. The people who accomplish meaningful things are not always the most talented. Often they are simply the ones who refuse to stop. Persistence is more powerful than intensity. Small, consistent effort transforms lives. One page written daily becomes a book. One workout repeated becomes strength. One conversation can heal a relationship. One decision can redirect a future. Greatness is rarely sudden. It is built gradually through repeated choices. And perhaps the greatest challenge of all is remaining human through every season of life. Success can corrupt people. Failure can harden people. Pain can isolate people. But wisdom softens without weakening. A wise person understands suffering without worshipping it, understands ambition without becoming consumed by it, understands power without needing to dominate others. They remain balanced, calm in chaos, humble in success, resilient in hardship, kind despite disappointment, and kindness itself is a form of strength the world often misunderstands. Cruelty is easy. Anyone can become harsh after being hurt. But remaining compassionate in a difficult world requires enormous inner discipline, especially when life has given you reasons to become cold. There is a reason deeply good people are so memorable, because goodness is rare, not performative goodness, not kindness used for attention. Real goodness, the kind that exists quietly. The kind that helps others without needing recognition. The kind that remains gentle despite pain. Human history remembers such people forever. At some point, you realize life is not truly about perfection. No human being escapes mistakes, fear, failure, loss. The goal is not becoming flawless. The goal is becoming conscious, aware of your actions, aware of your impact, aware of the briefness of existence. And once you become aware, you begin living differently. You stop chasing meaningless approval. You stop comparing your journey constantly. You stop allowing temporary emotions to control permanent decisions. You begin focusing on what actually matters: truth, purpose, growth, connection, peace, and perhaps most importantly, presence. Because life is always happening now, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Now, the tragedy is how many people spend their lives mentally absent from their own existence, always regretting the past or fearing the future. Meanwhile, the present moment quietly disappears forever. Learn to be here, fully. Feel the wind. Listen carefully when someone speaks. Notice the sky. Appreciate ordinary mornings. These small moments are not small, they're your life. And one day, when you look back at everything, the achievements may fade, the failures may lose importance, but the moments of courage, the moments of love, the moments you remained true to yourself despite pressure, those will remain, because in the end, character outlives achievement. A person can lose money and rebuild it, lose status and regain it, lose opportunities and discover new ones. But when character is lost, everything else eventually collapses with it. So protect your mind. Protect your integrity. Protect your peace. The world will constantly tempt you to betray yourself for approval, comfort, or temporary gain. Do not surrender so easily. There is already enough imitation in this world. Become real. Stand firm without becoming cruel. Dream greatly without losing discipline. Endure hardship without losing hope. Achieve success without losing humility. Face failure without losing dignity. And when life tests you, because it will, meet those tests with courage. Not perfect courage, human courage, the kind that trembles yet continues forward anyway. Because that, more than intelligence, more than talent, more than status, is what makes a life truly meaningful.